Hello, and in case you didn't know, this is Glenn Norberg with Modern Explorer. I'm in Florence, Colorado, and I'm heading over to Canyon City right now to interview another gentleman who I met while I was doing a job, and he told me about an encounter that he and his sister had up at Westcliff, up in the mountains up there, and I am going to be talking to him and getting the full story this time. In fact, I hope to be going up there with him relatively soon on location to see if I can find out if it correlates with some of the other stories that I've gotten from up there. So thanks for tagging along, and let's see what we find out together. Cheers.
20-30 yards away was this thing peeking over this pine bush.
It was a large, hairy animal, dark brown, black hair.
All of a sudden, this creature let out I want to call it a blood-curdling, growling, howling scream.
That's when I realized it wasn't my friend that had snuck up on me.
Dude, all the branches that are broken off are red.
That's crazy. There's no medulla.
Super interesting. So we met here when I was working, and you overheard me talking to some ladies and basically told me you guys had a story from up in the Westcliff area.
Yeah, there's probably a couple different stories that make you go, huh?
Okay. So let's start out kind of who you are, where we are, and how long you've been here, and kind of walk us into that.
I'm Rob. Been born and raised here for the most part. Left a few times, but always come back. I've been around in the mountains enough to know or wonder if something's there. And one experience that 95% it had to have been something.
Okay. When was this?
I was 14. A camping trip. Me and family members went up towards Westcliff, above Westcliff.
Okay.
And we were sitting around a fire one night. And pine cones and rocks kept getting thrown at us.
Okay.
And of course, my brother-in-law my brother-in-law was law enforcement, and so he brought a few firearms with him. And so the guns come out.
Okay.
And flashlights, and all you could see up the inside the hill was about 3 figures. 2 big, 1 smaller. And first we thought it was going to be elk up there, but elk
Don't throw things.
don't throw things.
Yeah.
And maybe humans, but these were bigger than any human. The smaller one was probably fair sized. And eventually they moved on, and we were still sitting there in the creek down the pathways. We heard it splashing. So it was whatever it was crossing the creek, the beaver pond. And the next day we went fishing and hiking around there, and we found footprints like that.
Wow.
And a few years ago, I was watching a show documentary, and that's something that a Bigfoot does is throw something at you.
Sure.
If they think you're in their territory. They didn't scream or nothing. Just threw things at us.
Okay. Hey, Glenn here, getting ready for my Tuesday night guilty pleasure of The Curse of Oak Island and Skinwalker Ranch. I've got my chips and homemade salsa that my wife made, as well as an adult beverage, but I can't show you that. But because it's Skinwalker Ranch tonight, remind me that we are going to Phenomenon in Vernal, Utah, September 6th through 9th of 2023. It's Utah's paranormal conference, and all sorts of great speakers going to be there, including the cast from Skinwalker Ranch, the cast from Expedition Bigfoot, George Knapp's going to be there, and a bunch of other speakers. So if you have a question that you'd like me to ask any of those folks, I hope to be interviewing, especially Russell Accord. I hope to be talking to him and having a sit-down interview with him, but there's going to be other folks there. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below or email me, glenn.norberg@modernexplorer.me, and I will really try to ask those questions for you guys. But better yet, you guys can show up and sign up at phenomicon.net, and I hope to see you there. Cheers. So you guys get up there, you're camping. How many people are with you at this point?
5 of us.
About 5 of you guys. Okay. Men and women, or all guys?
Men and women both.
Okay. And how long had you been up there? Did you get up there in the afternoon?
We usually spend about a week up there. I can't recall right off the bat how long we've been up there by that point.
Okay. Had you spent a night there already, or was it kind of that day, do you think?
This was the first day or two.
First day or two,
I'd
okay.
say.
Okay, so you're there, you've been hanging out, you've set up camp.
Mm-hmm.
And are you sleeping in tents and campers? And
Tents.
Tents, okay. And what time? So what time of year is this?
Summer.
Summertime.
4th of July weekend.
Oh, 4th of July weekend. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's late. It stays light pretty late at that time of year.
Yeah, and this was probably about 10, 11 o'clock at night.
So it was well into the night then.
Yeah.
It wasn't at dusk or anything. It was
No.
well into the night.
No, it
But
was-
you guys are still awake,
Yeah.
and so stuff started getting thrown.
At first we're like, someone's throwing shit at us.
Sure. And did you actually see things
Yeah.
moving, like midair or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
After we caught our attention, they kept throwing it. And so,
Did it come from the same direction?
yeah, up on the side of the hillside right there. Probably, I don't know. That hillside probably would have been as tall as the building right here across the street.
Okay. And were they rocks? Were they pine cones? Or
Rocks, pine cones.
And how large are we talking?
Yeah. No, pine cone.
Pine cone. Uh-huh.
Rocks like that.
So baseball size.
Yeah, at least baseball size.
Did you feel like they were being thrown in or lobbed in, like tossed in?
I wouldn't say they had good aim if they're trying to throw them so directly at us.
Were they bouncing a lot when they were hitting, or?
No.
Okay. Which makes me wonder if it was lobbed. Kind of. So if you throw a baseball,
Yeah, it was pretty much landed on the spot.
it would land on the spot, which makes me think it's kind of being tossed rather than being thrown. And so, how long before you guys reacted was this happening?
Probably about a minute.
Oh, so you guys pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now, when you were camping, was this in a rustic campground? I mean, was it a campground per se, or was it just a wide spot in the road or in a field or something?
It's up a trail off the creek and kind of in a campground, but we were kind of away from everybody else. The main
Okay.
campground.
Okay, so there was a campground in the area,
Yeah.
though.
Further on up.
Okay. Because sometimes it's like we're out in the woods in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
versus.
Yeah, right where you start getting into the dark timber.
Okay.
Just think dark timber.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay. Where your camp was, were you surrounded by trees? Do you remember, or was it all on one side, or?
Pretty much all the way around. There's trees, creek,
Okay.
quite a few trees and brush around in there too.
Okay. So stuff starts getting hucked in. How quickly was it coming? Was it just like bop, bop, or was it toss, 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 toss?
You know, rare to say every 10 seconds.
Maybe every 10. So it was fairly quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you're going, is that pine cone? You're actually aware that something's being thrown at us.
Yeah.
Did anything hit any of you guys?
No, but it come awful close a couple times.
Did it seem to be coming in at, like, if you're sitting there, was it coming in at head level? Was it coming in at body level, on the ground level? What do you think?
Not body level.
Okay.
So they're getting close.
Uh-huh.
And then my brother-in-law's brother got flashlights out and shining up around there. Thought maybe it'd help. But I say, oh, don't throw shit.
Yeah.
I seen eyes up there, and that's when the guns come out.
So you saw eye shine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what color the eye shine was?
Kind of greenish.
Kind of a greenish? That's unusual. That's kind of a different color.
Yeah. I'd say, no, it was a long time ago at this point. But
Yeah. And you were at this point about how old?
14.
Okay. So it was a couple of years back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while.
So you bring out the guns. Did anything change at that point? Were rocks still being thrown? When you started shining lights, was stuff still being thrown, or did it stop?
Didn't fire any warning shots, but we started yelling at it, whatever it was, and it stopped.
And it stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you were alerted and got up and started defending yourself effectively,
Yeah.
at that point it stopped.
Yeah.
What did you do then?
It stopped. So we just sit around the campfire. We were talking about this whole ordeal.
Uh-huh.
And my brother, or my brother-in-law and his brother started Bigfoot come up, and because they were from Deckers and they had experiences up there too.
Oh, okay. Up at Deckers.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never been there, so.
That's kind of isolated too.
Okay.
A lot of mountains.
Yeah.
And that's when we heard the splashing going through a beaver pond. And like, whatever it is, it's big.
And it sounded like footfall. It didn't sound like. Did it sound like rocks being thrown? Did it sound like footfall? Did it sound like
No, there's
something passing through?
There's something passing through.
Something passing through.
Yeah.
Wow.
That sounded like something was wading across the beaver pond.
So what was at this point? What was your guys' reaction?
We were going to check it out next morning.
But everybody was on edge.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Guns were
ready.
Yeah.
Well, I absolutely. Had you seen any other people up there at this
no,
point?
Never ever.
No. So
Been up there
even
probably-
at the other campground, there was nobody at the other
I've
campground.
probably been up there 10 years running at one point, and never seen any humans up there.
Okay. So
Then there was a game trail up there, that probably everything used.
yeah. Interesting. Okay, so I'm painting the picture. So you're sitting around the fire, rocks and pine cones both. Okay.
Yeah.
Are getting thrown at you guys, towards you guys. It's hitting it. You start shining flashlights around, and you said you saw 3 figures.
Yeah.
Now were they behind trees? Were they in the open? What were?
Kind of just out of flashlight range to really see them, but you still see the eyes.
Okay, saw eye shine. How were they next to each other? Were they?
Yeah, they're next to each other.
Okay, so you'd say it was a small group together.
Yeah.
Okay, and were all eye shine all the same color?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, but you never. So you saw some figures, but you never saw anything but the eye shine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of the silhouette, like I said, is right at the range.
Yeah.
Flashlight.
Right at the edge of the flashlight, of
Yeah.
course.
You see the figures moving, the silhouette's moving.
Now, what kind of movement were they doing? So kind of a side to side movement.
Yeah.
Okay. Did they
I guess
appear?
they're curious about something.
Okay. Did they appear to be using the trees for cover, or?
Kinda.
Okay.
There's a lot I was gonna say they're using them, but there are a lot of trees up there.
There are a lot of trees up there. Okay, but they weren't in the open. No. Okay. And so you're shining the lights on them. You've seen these figures now.
Yeah.
No warning. No shots are fired. What do they do? Did they walk away? Did they leave? Did they?
They ducked away.
Ducked away. Did you hear it?
Probably 10 minutes later, we were sitting around fire, but 10 minutes later is when we heard them crossing the creek, because that's just 10 minutes away, you know.
Okay. So.
Well, I can't say that, 10 minutes away. It's probably 2 minutes down the path.
Sure.
Where we,
just right down the path.
yeah.
Did you hear them pushing through the trees at all?
No, they're too far. I'd say Brad too far away.
Okay.
I mean, they weren't bushy trees. They're like, you know, big tall pines. Not a whole lot to push around.
Yeah. Did you smell anything?
No.
Any other sensate? Did you hear anything? Any vocalizations? Any sounds? Anything like that? Did you remember?
No, they didn't make any sounds.
Okay.
Just the rock throwing and
Just tossing stuff at you, throwing stuff at you.
going across the beaver pond.
And so now in the morning, you've gotten up. Nothing happened the rest of the night.
No. Whatever it was, they moved on.
They moved on. So you go down to the beaver ponds, and you found these footprints. Can you describe the footprints? Again, you said they're pretty big. Can you describe them?
Human shape.
Human shape. Barefoot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Barefoot. Probably.
That's good 18, 19 inches long.
Yeah. Probably Shaquille O'Neal size foot.
Was there anything that struck you, I mean, aside from the size, was there anything that struck you about these? I mean, what did everybody think about when they saw this? I mean, what was the discussion?
We didn't go alone when we were fishing. When we stuck together.
Everybody stuck together then.
Yeah. I don't know if they're dangerous or not. I have no idea.
Yeah. Did anybody else there have any? I mean, was sitting around the fire after all this, or in the day? Did you guys talk about the experience? What was the discussion?
After we found those footprints, we were talking about it, and that's when my brother-in-law and his brothers again mentioned up at Decker's.
They started telling their stories from Decker's.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess they would holler as a time or two they've been up there and they hear something hollering and they holler back. You know, watching the gorillas, they'll roar or make some kind of squall. And they said that's what whatever it was doing.
Oh, interesting.
They'd holler.
So they were communicating back and forth.
Yeah. But they said they'd try to go to where it was coming from and do it again, and it'd move.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Now, they're hunters. I mean, are you a hunting family or outdoor family?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they were.
They said they never saw it, but they kept trying to track it down, and they kept moving on them.
Interesting. Interesting. So, as hunters, when you guys saw these tracks, everybody's going to say, "Oh, you saw bear tracks."
Yeah, these are bigger than bear tracks. And I know a hind foot of a bear looks human-like too, but it's bigger than any bear track.
Interesting. Interesting. And how many tracks? How many tracks did you find? Did you find 3 sets or?
Yeah, we didn't find 3 sets, but there's about 4 or 5 tracks we found.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And was it down in the mud or?
But yeah.
Okay.
Coming off the rocks and the grassy areas.
Okay.
Right in the soft mud.
You could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I talked to somebody there in Beaver Creek, and they had one walk into their campfire. The cold coals, walked through it, and then left a footprint on a rock of the
Oh, really?
the ash. And so, did you see anything like that where they moved? Did they appear to be using the rocks for, and did they appear to be hiding their tracks with the terrain? Do you recall?
I assume when the reason they're throwing stuff at us, we're probably in their normal path.
Normal path, maybe in the hunting zone or whatever.
Yeah, we were in their way. So they started throwing shit at us, and when like I said, when they brought the firearms out, I think that might have deterred them too, because that click click of a revolver. I think about every animal knows that sound too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, you can very carefully, run the action on a bolt action rifle, and they'll hear that and they know what that sound is. So you have to be really, really careful. Oh, it's like, you wouldn't think that they're that attuned.
Yeah.
But
oh, I'm out of here.
Yep, exactly. Hey, if you like what we're doing, please hit subscribe, notify, and comment below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps us get more of this content out. Thanks. Did anything else ever happen weird up there? Any curious?
That was, well, probably a couple years, a year or two later, we went up there. It's hard telling. You don't know if it's deer or elk coming through. One of the buddies, the brother-in-law's brother, had a dog up there at that point, and he's having a fit one night in the middle of the night. But it's hard
Who
telling.
knows?
Yeah. And a couple of years ago, I went up to the top of Marshall Pass, and a couple of buddies, and the boy. Don't know what it was. That day, we come across a moose, not too far off. In the middle of the night, my dog started having a fit and growling, and I didn't step outside to see what it was. I didn't know that
Yeah.
moose. If she had a calf, or
Yeah.
she had killed me.
Yeah.
Or if it was something else, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's dogs definitely, they're good to have camping because they'll alert to things.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I didn't really find anything for tracks around there. The ground wasn't really
I had
good
an
for leaving
interesting.
tracks.
You know where O'Haver Lake is?
I'm probably be going up. That's where we were.
Okay.
Above Marshall Pass, above O'Haver Lake.
Yeah. You know County Road 204? It's Drew's Creek. And as you're driving up to O'Haver, it kind of cuts off to the right and it splits 2 or 3 times. And I was on County Road 204 and I was elk hunting, archery hunting. I don't know what the hell I'm doing archery hunting. All I know is you gotta be quiet and, I got my little squeaker. And I'm going up the hill and I hear to my right. I stop, knock my arrow, I get down, I'm looking, nothing. Going up the hill, I hear to my right,
I've heard shit like that when I was out hunting.
and then I'm going up the hill, I hear to my left, nothing. Going up the hill, something landed in the bush right next to me, right there. It was in the bush, couldn't tell what it was. Wrote it off as a pine cone, but then. And I'm in aspens, I'm about 10,000 feet, almost all aspens, some pines. And I hear behind me, oh, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Put my hand on my gun, turn around for it, called in a bear, right? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing to be seen. I sat there for 45 minutes watching for anything 4 feet off the ground, brown, effectively, is what I'm looking for, for movement, any kind of movement. Never saw anything, but I did find some very interesting trees that were broken. What initially looked like deadfall, but it wasn't.
Yeah, too high up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, no, it was just almost balanced. I found some wedged.
I thought about that thing like that too. I've come across trees that broke off, but they're too high up to really like something snapped him off about 3-4 foot up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this was kind of weird. It was very weird. So you've heard those that?
Yeah.
Now people have told me that's elk. That's an elk making that.
I've never heard an elk make that sound.
I haven't either. I didn't, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Like
So
a whistle. But
I just trusted them. Well, we were up by Marshall Pass,
that's where we were.
and we were up in the dark timber up there,
Yeah.
following elk. And as we're going up, we heard this, and so we all get down, knock the arrows. Everybody's doing this bit. The guy's rattling his antlers. He's bugling, and I don't know. Again, I don't know elk hunting, but this, he said, it's them, it's the elk. Now, I never smelled anything, never smelled elk, right? If they're that close, usually you get that musky smell. I never smelled anything, but this went on. We're in dark timber, and you're looking, you're on high alert, and all around us for about half an hour, 45 minutes. It wasn't that fast. Maybe every couple of minutes, or every minute, we would hear something. Never saw a thing. Never heard an elk. He was bugling. He was rattling.
Yeah.
Nothing. He says, "Oh, it was elk. They just moved on." I said, "Yeah," and we were finding fresh sign. I mean, there was fresh poop, fresh track. So obviously they were in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not an elk hunter successfully.
Yeah.
But that just didn't sound like, I didn't think that sounded like it was elk. It didn't strike me that was.
I wonder about a lot of things I thought were elk. Now I wonder that it may not have been.
Yeah. I don't, exactly. You don't know because you don't see anything.
And I never really thought, there's a lot of things that struck me curious now.
Yeah, but nothing you can hang your hat on.
No.
Just weirdness in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been up hunting above hillside.
Mm-hmm.
We've been way up there, and everything goes quiet, and like the hair stands up in your back, and you feel like you're being watched, but you don't know what it is. You can't see it. We have a buddy that he used to go hunting over by Sasquatch over there somewhere by the dome.
Mm-hmm.
He said he physically seen something.
Really?
He said he seen it. He said it was gone. And he was a horse. Take horses in. He said horses wouldn't go in there.
Yeah. Interesting.
They flat refused.
Really? So the horses did not want to go in that area. Interesting. Yeah, when a horse doesn't want to go somewhere, you ain't getting it to go there. Wow. It's
I said, yeah, even right above Riverside up here. On my old jobs, I wasn't there. I didn't see it, but two of the other guys come across footprints. Like it jumped over the canal, and that canal is probably from here to that pool table, maybe a hair wider. And what it was, jumped over it because there's nowhere to.
So this is where at?
Above Riverside up here, at Grape Creek.
Okay. So, you mean right down on the river by Pink House? So
Just a little bit above there.
Okay.
Just not very far. Just a little bit above there. You go take that road up around there and it dead ends.
Mm-hmm.
Right in there.
Okay. And they found some significant tracks.
Yeah.
It is crazy. People look at Bigfoot and they think, they think Pacific Northwest, deep woods, right? It is amazing how many stories I've gotten from the high desert where we are here.
Yeah.
In the foothills of the mountains. I've actually gotten a track. The kids took a casting right behind the college on the Frisbee golf course. He took a casting of a 15.5-inch long.
That's not far off of where my buddies seen it across the river.
Boy, I would love to talk to. Is he around?
No, he's moved away.
Are you still?
Both of them moved.
Are you still in touch with them?
One of them.
Could you get in touch with them?
Yeah.
I would love to hear that, because what I'm trying to do is build a picture of where things are at, because Tunnel Drive, I've gotten a significant number of stories from that.
Same area.
Yeah, Grape Creek, all that.
Person 1.
Mexico, I don't know.
Person 2.
Anymore.
Okay.
Try to get a
Person 1.
Yeah.
He can be difficult to get a hold of.
This whole thing has been a detective. It's like going to a crime scene and picking up a little clue here and a little clue here, little stories, whispers and rumors, and but it's one thing when it's just a story, one story, you can kind of write it off as some guy's a nut. But when you get 2, 3, 4, 10 stories,
I believe there's something out there, and whether they know it or not, if they hadn't already found him, and them being quiet wouldn't surprise me. It was like the wolves and the bears, the grizzly bears in Colorado. They say there ain't any.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. I've seen them.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually
I lived in Craig, Colorado. That's another hot spot for what you're looking for. It's up there, just 40 miles from Steamboat.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. In fact, we're going to be camping up there in an area that I think is an interesting area. So I'll be
Privateers Pass. This side of Steamboat, that is nothing but wilderness.
Yeah.
Along there.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Another interesting story from right here in Colorado, in an area where, I've heard other encounters. This is up in the Sangre de Christos, and I hope to be going up there with him before too long, so you can show me the campground, and you'll see what that looks like. But what's very cool too is I've got some spin-offs from this. His friends that saw something in Grape Creek and found a footprint up there, as well as the area by Decker and even Steamboat. So be following this up and stay tuned. Thank you.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises.